Can I say, who's there for you? We spoke earlier about, I'm there for a lot of people, a lot of people in the family in particular, and then booze was there for me, alcohol was there for me, and that was a crutch, and great, it worked. Who's there for you at the end of the day? Because you're there for so many.
My grandmother died a little over 6 years ago. 8 days later, my second son was born, and I was really depressed losing her. But I didn't tell anyone because I had to be there for my father. My mom was being there for my dad. I'd always be the fixer, right? And then I had to jump in and have a child, and I realized no one asked if I was okay. And I got very depressed again because, no one asked. And my wife at the time, Yale, said something really beautiful to me. She goes, "That's your fault. You don't share with people who you are. You're not vulnerable with people and telling them so they don't know to ask. What you're doing now, doing this podcast and being this vulnerable, there are a lot of people who want to be there for you. Strangers who I've checked your Twitter and I've seen the comments, like people really are falling in love with the vulnerability of what you share. I did. That's why I came, because you spoke to me in a way that I was like, this is a really good guy searching for answers just like me. So when you ask who's there for me, since I've done this work, not only are there a lot of people there for me, but I also came to the realization that there were always a lot of people there for me. And I just wasn't letting them in because I thought that it was weak to do so.
How do you approach trust? This is the other thing that I find now, which is like, there's a lot of people who'll be there for you, who'll want to be there for you. You're a scooter. And you can't trust everyone.
Well, one, I have 3 beautiful kids that I get unconditional love from. So I have I'm like Green Lantern with the lantern getting, powered up by my children every time I'm around them. There's just something so beautiful about children that, I coach 2 of my kids' basketball teams. I bring my daughter to dance class on Mondays, and I love being around them. Like I'm kind of obsessed with them. I don't want to become the dad that's overbearing, but I really.
But let me tell you about my kids.
No, but I'm obsessed with them. Like and it's because they love me. It's like it's such unconditional love that it's like, it's hard to describe. So number 1, I have that. Number 2, I have a bunch of friends. I'm actually in town with my buddy David Appleton, who's been an amazing friend to me. I have 2 of my close friends since I was 11 years old, Mike and Vuk, and we'd hang. But when I went through this kind of transformation of pain to joy over the last 3 years, Amor Fati, I have tattooed on my arm. It's Marcus Aurelius Meditations. I had the suffering and the joy, and I learned to love them the same. And when I was vulnerable, me and these 2 guys who'd been in my life my whole life took it to a different place. And they say, we've known you your whole life, but we didn't know you until now. And they check on me and I check on them, and they are there for me in such a beautiful way. And I started to realize how many other people were. I just always thought that I had to show this strength to these people. And I was also playing into my trauma of trying to satisfy the people who were abusive to me. It's like I'm paying so much, it's like negative comments on your Instagram, right? I'm paying so much attention to certain people in my life who I'm trying to win over to make sure that they love me, that I'm not paying attention to the people standing right next to me who truly love me and aren't asking me for anything.